We are streaming live on September 19th, Wednesday. And we have a Cueanon Q&A, and he says, we are not alone, which is wild for me. But we've got tons of Q posts and just all kinds of news. So this is going to be a great ride. Nobody's come on yet, so you're listening to the recording. The only way you're going to ever see me live is you need to actually take the subscribe button, and to the right it actually has a little bell on there. You have to click that bell, and it has to be highlighted and say all notifications. YouTube's turning that off for me and even unsubscribing people, so you're gonna have to check that bell every couple days. All right, here we got a bunch of people coming on now from Utah and California and Los Angeles and Jersey and Oklahoma, Indiana, Kay from Indiana, and Bama, Tracy, and boy, it goes so fast, Joplin, I can't even get it all. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Looks like we have a good showing here, Oregon and Texas and Boise, etc. Again, Cueanon Q&A today, and we are not alone is one of the answers to one of his questions. So digging into a lot of stuff here on September 19th, tons of news. So let's dig into that. We have, I think back in September 18th, we talked about this. I'm going to bring this up a little bit, get me some more room on my board. But here you have September 19th, we went over Goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein. And that was just one we didn't cover last time because I went off air and we talked about truth to power, listen carefully, right? And if you remember right, that was a YouTube video. And it really went over Michael Flynn. So Michael Horowitz, right? So this Horowitz thing was really good, talking about all the different IGs, and I showed you my 5 points that you can go find on the vote board, voat.co, if you want to go see more details about that. That's where we ended up. Now, this is a new one, Goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein. So here's a Fox News article. It says, Greg Jarrett, if Rod Rosenstein defies Trump orders to declassify documents, should be fired, right? So there's just a nice article here basically digging into that and just really showing that, like they said, goodbye, Mr. Rosenstein. Now, not many areas you can go. I think this was all part of the plan, so we'll see how that ends up turning out. But a good article to go dig into if you want to go see what Greg Jarrett said on Fox News. Okay, get into today. Now, before I get into today too much, I do want to go over the whole privacy thing again, because it's a big deal, guys. Do you want everybody to know? This is kind of a question for you. Do you want everybody to know that you're going on to vote? Do you want Google to know that? Do you want all the elites to know that you are going on vote? That's kind of what's happening now with the lack of privacy we're getting now, right? And we know that the life log, literally, when they shut down, Facebook opened that very same day, right? So basically, the whole LifeLog project that DARPA had started pretty much just resumed with a new face and a new name, right? And so Facebook even has a VPN they came out for a while. I think you saw that. They were taking people's data so they could even track all your web traffic. So, and that's on your phone, your tablet, and your laptop. So, tell you what, if you really want to get privacy, you need what we call a VPN. This is a virtual private network. And the problem we have here is, I'm going to show you this here over to the right again. Showed some of those yesterday who were on. But like, this is an IP chicken, and this shows what my IP address is right now. And if I turn my virtual shield off, and so if you go to, it's called IP chicken. Right here it is, 4576. So this is a whole new, so I'm going to be streaming with you guys with a whole new IP address that changes every time. This is vital for security. It's encrypted data, then they can't track your web traffic. So if you want people to know you're going to vote.com and you're going to Reddit and that you're going where you're going and where all your web traffic goes, then don't get a VPN. but get a VPN, and the one I want you to get is the one of my sponsor, because number one, it's the fastest in the world. It's also the one of the easiest to use. You just saw that's all there is to it. And they have a blowout summer special. Most of these are like, to get a good one, you can get a free VPN that's slow and hard to use. use, and or they're siphoning your data off you, right? And you don't want to do that. To get a real good VPN costs $15 to $20 a month. They have a blowout sale to get this for $324 a month right now if you do a 2-year deal, right? There's also your browsing history will be safe. It works on all your devices. And again, they also have an IdentiSafe, so it'll protect your camera on your phone, so they can't take your camera on your laptop, as well as your speaker, so that you can't. So people like the CIA can't use their tools to break in and see you. So get private. It's my first sponsor. Be fun for us all to jump on and show that I'm worth my salt as far as of you guys, and you guys will support me as well. But more importantly, get yourself private, right? We will protect yourself. Keep your browsing history private at all times, using a different IP address every time. So you can see how that easy that is. So let's dig into the rest of these. We'll dig right here into the first drop of the day, 2210. How about a nice game of chess? This is just so funny. The taunting that he's doing is just awesome now. IG Horowitz, Justice Department, speech, whistleblowers. Here's the org just gov about meet IG, right? And this right here just gives them more detail on what Inspector Horowitz. And we saw yesterday he actually gave a speech and he talked about all these other IGs that are coming, and so it's really interesting. But he actually I'm going to turn this off because it tells us what he's going to talk about. The chairman of the Council of the Inspector Generals on the Integrity and Efficiency, right? Since 2015, he has simultaneously served as the chair of the Council of the Inspectors Generals on Integrity and Efficiency, the CIGIE, an organization comprised all 73 federal inspector general. I had no idea there were 73 of them. That's kind of awesome. Think yesterday. What was learned? So I showed you my 5 points, right? That I had in a vote log, a vote comment. It says Robert Storch confirmed NSA IG. So here's this other guy. He used to work for Horowitz. So he's a protege of Horowitz. And again, this is, the first IG for the NSA, right? And so inspector generals were really beefed them up. A lot of more lawyers, a lot more inspector generals, etc. I'm going to close the IP chicken here. Hopefully nobody saw that real quick and closes me down right now. But again, I could just go out of there and back into it and have a whole new other IP address if that started happening. That's a beautiful part about an IPN. Now, if you go back and you look at what he's saying about this, it's the first presidentially appointed IG for NSA, ? Department of Justice background, important. So if you look at it, federal prosecutor in the New York District of New York, background, important. Chairman of Council of the Inspector Generals on Integrity and Efficiency, background, important. So this is who this Storch guy is going to be really quick. So I said yesterday, remember the names, right? Horowitz, also remember Storch. Robert Storch is going to be real key because he has a Department of Justice background, and he also has a New York City background, District of New York, right, where tons of corruption have been going on lately. So that is going to be awesome to have that. Prior to joining the NSA, Mr. Storch served in several positions at the Department of Justice, OIG, including the senior counsel to the IG and the acting deputy IG prior to his 2015 appointment as deputy IG. He also served as chairman of Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency, the CIGIE, whistleblower ombudsman working group. The whistleblower ombudsperson program he helped establish is widely seen as a leader in the field. Earlier in his career, Mr. Storch also worked as a federal prosecutor in the Northern District of New York, most recently serving as a deputy criminal chief and counsel to the U.S. Attorney. He was also posted overseas for 2 years as a Department of Justice resident legal advisor in Ukraine. Interesting, because we know there's been a lot of funny business going on there as well, especially with the Clinton Foundation. Vehicle for cross-sharing of department-to-department info re-inspector generals. So it's a vehicle to share, right? Council of Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency. right? So obviously you're not being efficient if there's a bunch of criminals in your organization, right? So here's another post to this INET.gov, and it's talking about the CIGIE in more detail, so you can go read more about that. But it's basically efficiency and integrity, right? Is what that whole point is. And this gives a little detail here. The CIGIE is comprised of all inspector generals whose offices are established under Section 2 or Section 8G of the Inspector General Act of 1978, 5 U.S.C. App. Those are the presidentially appointed, Senate confirmed, and those that are appointed to agency heads, designated federal entities. And there's just more detail about it here as well. Inspector General Act of 1978 that you can go read if you want to get in a lot more detail. But he summarizes some of what we need to know, and that's how might this benefit possible ongoing investigations across intra-federal agencies. Huber, Horowitz, Storch. This is the big revelation from yesterday. It's not just Huber as the IG. Huber as the prosecutor, and it's not just Horowitz as the IG, but we got more IGs like Storch and others that he's going to go link in with all the other agencies, because he was doing the whole whistleblowers between all the IGs, right? U.S. Attorney, prosecutor, to the DOJ, FBI, Inspector General, investigator, to signal intelligence, and information assurance, IA, products and services. So you have the whole mechanism here with Storch combining all the other IGs, the head IG of Horowitz over the DOJ and FBI, and then Huber, the prosecutor, coming in to take down all these criminals from the past, right? Which is going to be a beautiful thing. Here we go. NSA is being pushed. Here's Attorney General Jeff Sessions appoints Utah U.S. Attorney John Huber to leadership positions as a member of the Attorney General Advisory Committee. Look at the date of this. November 13th. When did Q start posting? October 28th. When did all the sealed indictment counts start flying up? November. He's been there since the beginning. To me, this is a bombshell. We knew that Huber was at least in February, but it goes all the way back to November. So Huber's been there from the beginning of all this new sealed indictments. That's how we got all the sealed indictments, because he started paneling grand juries, right? NSA been pushed since the beginning. Logical thinking. The experts. So the experts are saying, the so-called experts, right? But Sessions should appoint a second counsel in D.C., a.k.a. the corrupt swamp. But Sessions should appoint a second general counsel in the D.C., a.k.a. the corrupt swamp. Team of less than 20 typically, and wait 2 to 4 years and take a gamble. But Sessions could appoint a second counsel in D.C., a.k.a. the corrupt swamp, because unlike the Clinton email corrupt case, as demonstrated by the FBI, DOJ, people fired and removed, this will be conducted faithfully and honestly like Mueller. And so obviously it's not going to be, because it's just like it's not being honest and faithful with Mueller, because he's going after only the Trump people and not the Clinton people. Publicly. I think privately that's a different answer though. But Huber ability to prosecute and panel a grand jury outside of D.C., 90% plus voted for HRC in 2016 in D.C. So obviously having grand juries in D.C. is not going to do you much good when you know the criminals are there. So basically he's saying, but Huber's ability to prosecute and panel a grand jury outside of D.C. who already began the investigations late last year with a assigned team of 470. He actually said 475 in his video. 470 investigators, attorneys, plus IG, plus legal jurisdiction across all 50 states is not a special counsel, so therefore nothing is being done. And that's basically completely sarcastic, right? Obviously, something is being done. But POTUS is attacking Sessions via Twitter, so therefore he's not working on behalf of the people's interest, or POTUS. And again, that's just a narrative. That's the acting. D's now left love, trust Sessions, because anybody that Trump says something bad about, it's their hero. That's the Trump derangement syndrome that he's learned, to play him like a fiddle, right? So play these mainstream media fools like a fiddle, or the Hollywood fools, New World Order people. He's playing them like a fiddle, and they all have Trump derangement syndrome. And so now he's got separated himself from Sessions. And Horowitz is an Obama appointee. So is Huber. So now he's separated himself. So now the hammer can drop and they can't say it's politically driven, because it's not. It's basically good people trying to take down evil. So, but interestingly, if nothing is done behind the scenes, why are so many FBI and DOJ senior officials being fired and or removed from their respective positions of power? Who is AG? Obviously, that's talking about Sessions. Who must sign off on each removal? Sessions. DOJ in charge of FBI? Yes. But interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are there 50,000+ sealed indictments across the U.S.? What percentage equals USA versus X? Now, nobody's ever been able to answer that. I'd love to find that out. If you guys put some comments down below, let me know if you know the answer to that. I'd love to know the answer to that. Coincidence versus Huber start. No, it's not a coincidence at all. So, and again, there's a lot of skeptics out there saying, oh, no, those sealed indictments, some of them are search warrants, some of them are other documents. Yeah, there are, but most of them are indictments, right? And also the fact is that some indictments are for multiple people. Just like the Keith Reiner and Allison Mack one was combined as one indictment. So there is a ton of indictments out there. And so when now Q's pretty much confirmed, there's over 50,000 of them. Now, are some of those search warrants and some of them been actually unsealed? And it's going to be less than 10% based on the research I saw. And again, the link in the notes of all my videos, there's a link there to show you the Twitter guy who was actually tracking all this, and you can go get the actual documents to see him if you want to pull them off from his Google Docs. And he also links to somebody that's talking about the unsealed documents. It's less than 10% of them per month, that come unsealed. There's still way more than usual. And there's a lot of people attacking that as well. Why? Because everybody wants to take away your hope in the truth that's happening right before us. But anyway, another topic there around the 50,000. But interestingly, if nothing's being done behind the scenes, why are so many powerful CEOs, members of Congress, Senate resigning or not running for office, right? Coincidence? Of course not. Example, pre-POTUS did the Speaker of the House indicating wanting to leave politics. So was Ryan going to ever leave politics? No. The reason he is because he did a deal. His hide was cooked, and he did some things he probably shouldn't have, and they showed him, and he basically agreed not to run anymore. But interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are human trafficking arrests surging? We've shown you some charts on that. So here Q's confirming it again. It's because of this movement, not just some random thing. Nothing to see here. Q. Woo! I thought that was the only one we were going to get for a while because it was so long. I was going, that's enough for my show tonight. But now he kept going. 22-21. So he talks about Rod Rosenstein's attempts to stall D-Class and or redact have failed. Got popcorn? Enjoy the show. Q. By the way, a subscriber sent me a video of Rod Rosenstein saying it's pronounced Stein, not Steen. But he accepts both, and some of his relatives say Steen. But it's the correct spelling, the correct pronunciation for him is Rod Rosenstein. Okay, here's 2212. This was interesting. So two different posts, and actually he's linking to somebody who pulled this together, which is kind of cool for people that are on Twitter, and all of a sudden they get retweeted basically by Q. So here's this guy in the Matrix. I'm not sure if you follow him. I don't. I'll go ahead and follow him now. Right, his name's In the Matrix, right? And it says Q alert. 9/18 Q 2207 3:57 p.m. New playbook needed. We see you, Q. And I was laughing about this last night, right? Look at this. New playbook needed. He's taunting them, right? And I didn't know this, but literally a few hours later, about 4 hours, a little less than 4 hours later, you have at POTUS post this, which said, and then it was a 8:45 p.m. tweet, and it said, the Supreme Court is one of the main reasons I got elected president. I hope Republican voters and others are watching and studying the Democrats' playbook. First of all, it's a funny tweet because he said their playbook is complete destruction and trying to destroy democracy and to destroy the republic, right? It's not about helping or anything like that. Their playbook is just complete resistance and destruction, right? And cover up of crimes is what they're really doing. And so, but the fact he used playbook here and playbook that we saw 3.5 hours before on QAnon is just another great proof. So the number of proofs we have is just tremendous, right? So I just showed you these two things, right? And so this was what he posted in the Matrix posted, right? And there's this old thing from 129 that just kind of went back to the fact that the red line. So they were linking back to the red line. I'm not going to reread that. You can, but right down here is the taunting that Q did last night, which was the DOJ and FBI previously informed me that the release of some of this information would cross a red line. Declass FISA, Rod Rosenstein force, red line, new playbook needed. Question mark. New playbook needed? Deep state, do you need a new playbook? We see you, Q. And then he basically amplifies on this tweet this guy had, and Q says, do you believe in coincidences? Think of context. Nothing to see here, Q. So this is just another awesome proof in 2112 of another proof. And 2113, he says castle lock. Lock is in actual capital letters. So I haven't dug into this much, but saw one post talking, a couple people arguing over that. And I guess one thing is that that the President Trump might be in a lockdown because they did talk about the castle before being the White House, talking about Trump. So I'm going with that. That's what I think that is. Now, other people are trying to link it to corruption in the UK and all kinds of other things. So I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going that's just Trump is locked down, about ready to just start, just start executing as much as he can to deliver pain to this deep state as the carpet bombs continue to go, right? 2214, panic in UK, panic in DC. Panic in UK. Panic in DC. Q. He repeats them twice, all in capital letters. So you can imagine what's going on with the MI6 and all their corrupt, their corrupt CIA and the corrupt MI6, the intelligence agency of both the UK and DC are being exposed. What a beauty! That's as Mark Taylor has predicted with us, right? Is that evil's going to be exposed in all levels of government, in churches, and across the whole United States as well as the world, and we're starting to see it everywhere. 2215, Q&A, Q, and this was amazing. Unfortunately, I was walking out with a dog and didn't get on 8chan and ask any questions, but there's so many people that went on, like 412,000 people getting on 8chan trying to ask Q questions. And here's some of the questions that he actually asked, and it was, but he had a hard time. They overloaded the board so much they realized that, and he's talking to Code Monkey saying, hey, give us some more bandwidth here because we're getting nailed. So the first question he answered is about Trudeau. Talking anything, Al? So when he's talking about Trudeau, it's Justin Trudeau out of Canada, right? We know he's a complete deep state evil operative. And here's what Q says. He says billionaire, and with parentheses and an S, and says 187. So billionaires 187, that's billionaires murder. So I think he's basically claiming that we're going to find out that Justin Trudeau was part of murdering people. It sounds like to me, other billionaires. So, and then it says Five Eyes. We know that Canada was very much involved in the Five Eyes illegal surveillance, right? And then Safety House Build, which interesting. Let me know what you think it is down below. I'm sure when we look at vote, we might see a few things as well. And it says, and this is one thing we really knew, uranium one funnel to Canada to elsewhere. So we know it probably went to North Korea and Iran, and all this uranium went all over the place. So it didn't stay in Canada. We know that for sure. Q. And so that's basically answering that, yes, Justin Trudeau is dirty. He's dirty. It has something to do with billionaires' murders. Obviously, the Five Eyes illegal surveillance. Something to do with the Safety House build. So they maybe build something in Canada to Safety House. I don't know if that was for when the nuclear bombs went off. But anyway, We know that Trudeau was dirty. Q confirms it. 21:16. Next question was somebody posted a picture of Flynn and said, loading, said, Flynn exonerated soon? And Q says, in the end, we all will be right. Patriots protect patriots. So we don't have to worry about Flynn. We know he lied on purpose to get all the information that he had into the proper court of law to be able to be used as evidence. And in 30 days from exactly when he told us that he was going to be free from any risk of it. And to me, that was a fulfilled prediction. When they said Flynn free in 30 days, the FBI admitted he didn't lie. And everybody's saying he didn't lie. So 22:18, sexual misconduct is the public shelter to accept resignations. So this is one of those unfortunate times when they didn't put the question he's asking. So I have to go to 8chan, and I'm scared to do this based upon the traffic that got hit and how everything slowed down. But we'll see if it comes down. See how slow it is? So it's just trying to go into 8chan right now, but it's just been overloaded tonight. And so it looks like I'm not going to be able to see the question. But I think I saw this earlier today when I went and got it, and it said, I think this was something to do with, are the people that are, oh, here it is, so it's coming up. It was a question about, are the people that are resigning because of the supposed sexual misconduct going to get away with all their other stuff they're doing? Because that's just the tip of the iceberg of what a lot of these guys did, right? And it'll show here in a second, but it's still got to rebuild more. So I'm going to come back to that a second after it has a chance to rebuild. But so that's the question, something about that. Are they going to get away with just that? And then Q confirms, sexual misconduct is the public shelter to accept resignation, right? And when a lot of these people are just doing that to just get out of there because they've had a lot worse crimes they're guilty of. But it says, watch those announcing 2020 presidential running. Now, this is interesting. You can't attack a political opponent. None are protected, none are safe. Q. So basically you see Cory Booker running for president. You see all these people running for president that are all these deep state shills, right? And they're basically doing that so that they can point to Trump and say, oh, he's trying to prosecute me because he knew I was going to beat him in 2020 for the presidential election, which they don't have a chance, right? The criminal's trying to run for president again. Sorry, we already had that with Hillary. Don't want another one. But anyway, I thought that was just really interesting. So you see who's running in 2020, and they're probably some of the most guilty. It's like just the loudest ones are the most guilty. Here's the case. It's you know who's guilty here, right? Interesting stuff. 22:19. And he's going talking to Code Monkey, the guy that runs the board for 8chan, right? Code Monkey, please divert more resources bandwidth into the board queue. And so he wasn't able to answer very many questions, unfortunately, because of that. Now, here's another question. Okay, let's go see if this one's rebuilt so I can see this. There it is. Are they going to continue to hide behind sexual misconduct, or will the truth come out? Right? So are they going to be able to hide behind sexual misconduct, or will the truth come out? And he's basically saying that's a public shelter to accept resignation. So whether we're going to get to find out, he really didn't answer that question, unfortunately. But that's what that question was, and he did answer parts of it and gave us some new information. So now let me go to this one too to see exactly what question he said yes to here, and we'll come back to that. I think some of these others they brought over, like this one right here. This was the big one, and this is why I named this. We are not alone. So, I know Jordan Sather of Destroying the Illusions talks about aliens, etc. I just haven't studied it in detail at all, but just rejected it, okay? So so Q's challenging me to go study this more, I guess, because that's what he says. He basically said right here, the Anon asked Q, are we alone? Roswell, right? Talking about, I think, a 1947 incident where that guy's farmed. So you can go look at that in a little more detail. But he didn't answer. So Q didn't answer this question. He answered this question: are we alone? No. Highest classification. Consider the vastness of space. Q. So what Jordan said about the secret space programs and all that type of stuff, he's answering that as well. Looks like Jordan's on to something. So let's go see what he said yes to. He said yes to this right here. Still hasn't rebuilt completely. So it takes some while for 8chan to rebuild to where all the links work and everything. So that we'll wait just a second and come back to that. And here's 2222. Was moving the date back on POTUS FEMA presidential alert significant? And Q answers it. He says it was due to the confirmation of the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, due to K confirmation push, hand in hand. And it says Rod Rosenstein stand down due to confirmation, to the Kavanaugh confirmation. So that's interesting too. So basically, once Rod Rosenstein backed down and started letting the stuff be be able to resend the declassified stuff non-redacted, once he stand down to that, then all this is going to come out right after the confirmation, including this FEMA test, right? The presidential alert system, just in case everybody starts going wild as they're trying to rile up their the enemies of us, such as Antifa, right? Here's the question he said yes to. Was the Pentagon hit by a plane in 9/11? Woo! There's a lot of people said did not believe that one, but Q's confirming that yes, the plane did hit the Pentagon on 9/11. So interesting stuff. Were they trying to hide a bunch of stuff there? Potentially. Still, that doesn't mean that there's a lot of the stuff that could have happened wasn't set up beforehand, and they didn't blow up other things, etc. Just like they demolished the third building in 9/11 as well. All that type of stuff is still still points toward a huge conspiracy there that I think we're going to get to find out here. What a time to be alive, to know that we're going to be all the evil stuff that happens in people's lifetime that they never get to know about. We're alive to see it all be revealed, right? Here we are, 22:23. Code Monkey, please confirm as soon as possible. Resource upgrade tracking 330,000 IPs, which is causing extreme lag. Q. And it goes up even higher after that. Here is 22:24. Anon asks, Q, did NASA fake the moon landings? I know my son got into this one for a while. Same thing with flat Earth. It was driving me crazy. Have we been to the moon since then? Q doesn't answer that, by the way. Are there secret space programs? He does answer that. Is this why the Space Force was created? Question mark. So Q says false. Moon landings are real. Now, he said landings with an S, so I think it would say, yes, we've been back to the moon. So maybe he did answer that second question. Programs exist that are outside of public domain. And so that's pretty much confirming that, yes, there is a secret space program, just as Jordan would tell us, right? So that's 22:24. And now the last one I saw is Q basically saying there's 412,000 IPs now. This Anon says, we're definitely being attacked. No, we are being DDoSed ourselves with over 330,000 IPs. So that DDoS is when there's just so many things pinging the servers that the server can't recover, right? So this is a good test, too, for when the next attacks come, I think. Let me see if we got through all that, because I have tons of news to go through that we got to jump through here quick. If we didn't see anything else from Cueanon. Nope. Okay, that's the last one. So we're caught up at 22:25. Now let's start digging into a lot of this news. So we saw that, and we saw the Pentagon, the Lifeline stuff. I'm going to flip over to this new window here where I have just tons of news queued up. So we saw the Greg Jarrett article about Rod Rosenstein defies Trump order to declassify, should be fired, but then he backed down. It looks like he stood down. Here's another article by Sarah A. Carter saying GOP lawmakers laud Trump's order to declassify FISA documents. So the GOP's going, yes, finally. And it looks like it's actually going to happen. Q confirms that, right? Now, here's an interesting article talking about another Seth Rich murder. And so supposedly this person, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but Wendy Martinez was murdered in an upscale neighborhood, very safe place. It looks like was potentially a hit. This is the bridge, so she worked at the bridge. Here's what gets weird. Miss Martinez was also a member of the bridge. So you can go look at this yourself, again, vote.com. But it's basically something to do with, they're thinking that the Panic in D.C., this post that Q did was number 255 on the Patriot board, right? But it talked about blackmail versus Senate and House bridge fake news media being used to apply leverage against POTUS and or force immediate impeachment hearings based on mental state, potential release of state secrets, sources, and methods. So anyway, this is a hypothesis here that this Wendy Martinez knew all the dirty workings of the bridge. She may have been cooperating or assisting in an investigation. It would appear she was murdered using locals as hitmen, a la Seth Rich, MS-13 killers. So anyway, still dangerous times out there. This is a real war, guy. I know I try to make this kind of exciting and fun because I'm enjoying this process, but it's also very dangerous, right? So I appreciate prayers for me and others that are out there in the front lines, and those people doing a lot more risky things than I'm doing. But still, again, I think there's multiple. Somebody I was reading somewhere. I don't know who the other persons are, but I know Bill Smith is one of them missing, and supposedly there's one or two others. So let's pray for each other as we go through this battle. But we're not going to back down from the enemy. This is the time we have them cornered. Here's again. This is in vote.com. I think I told you. Now a link below I have as well is a combined board between the Great Awakening and the Awakening. So now I'm starting to like Vote better than Reddit in several ways. Number one, I was able to get the text bigger, like you're seeing now. But number two is it's got both boards together, so I'm getting just as good or better information than we did on Reddit. So I'm excited about it. This person says, if a private citizen can call for an FBI investigation for a Scottish nominee, how do I go about calling for one for Hillary, right? So there's people just joking about this, all those memes and all kinds of things coming up, talking about this. This is Teddy Kennedy, and it says, if only Kavanaugh had gotten drunk, killed a young woman, and left her under the bridge, we could let this pass. Yeah, so he escaped through that, but now a supposed 37-year-old, where two people were 17, and no proof of it at all, is to me just shameful. Shameful what they're doing there. Here's another example of the double standard. Here's Cory Booker bragged about fondling women after she pushed away his hand, right? And so Even here he's saying, I received messages that sex was best achieved through guile and strategy. So it's like this Cory Booker guy is a piece of work. And so we just can't let this happen where a republic, they basically use our ethics against us when we're trying to get people in office that are ethical, while the enemies basically are unethical, and they don't care if their people are unethical. Right, so we just cannot let people like this fake thing from the gal, which I believe is a fake accusation. Stop people with ethics to get in, and they're scared to death. They're fighting this with everything and pulling every dirty trick. You know why? Because Kavanaugh is going to confirm the military tribunals. Right? He even talked about it in his confirmation hearing when Lindsey Graham was talking to him. So again, if you go to voat.co and you go to my link, there's a thing that has a little V here for when you're looking at one, but there's a one that has an S in it. So actually, I've actually bookmarked it. So if you bookmark this, you're going to see that it goes vote.co, and then it has a little S for set. So it actually combines the Great Awakening and the Awakening. Great Awakening and The Awakening on voat.co. So it's an awesome board. I recommend you guys come over here. It's a lot easier to work than 8chan. Those of you who are wanting to learn 8chan, all the more to you. It looks like there's a chance that might be the only board we get to go on for a while. But I just want to let you know. This person says, Q drop, holy S, we aren't alone. So it's eye-opening for a lot of people. Here we are on some memes, right? Here's one that just has a picture of a bunch of animals and Trump kind of smirking, right? We're winning. And this is like the taunting and smiling and we're winning type thing. It's this cute meme there. Here's a Daily Caller saying this is talking about Chairman Grassley declines Dr. Ford's call for FBI investigation. So people come and testify in front of the Senate all the time without an FBI investigation, and it's past the. The FBI wouldn't even if she actually filed a report, etc. it's so long ago that no attorney is going to basically take it over in a civil court, and the criminal court's not going to take it because it was so long ago. And so this is a joke. They're just trying to stall. They're doing everything to stall, because the more they stall, they're just hoping they can wait till after the election, and they think that they're going to have the blue wave, and then they're going to try to make sure that you can't get anybody conservative on the court and anybody that's actually ethical. They want people that legislate from the bench. Right, and don't and just like Ruth Ginsburg doesn't even support the Constitution, right? How embarrassing to have somebody on the court, the Supreme Court, that talks like that. Has disdain for our Constitution and says there's many other constitutions that are better, and our Constitution's outdated, is what she says. So wow, can't wait till we get her off the court. Here's another article saying Deep State unmasked, leaks at HHS, DOJ official resists from inside DOJ. These allegations are deeply concerning, referred to Inspector General. That was from the Deep State Unmasked by Veritas. So Project Veritas, follow them on YouTube. Make sure you hit the little bell with the highlights that says all notifications too, because they not only they turned the bell off for my Project Veritas, they turned the subscribe button off. So we're all being attacked. All the truthers are being some type of tricky algorithm that YouTube's doing to turn off the bells and even unsubscribe people. But again, go watch this, because this is another one that talks about not only did we see the State Department person doing illegal things, now we see this person using LexisNexis and DSA expensive programs to do the work of the Democratic Socialists. Right? So crazy stuff. Go look at those videos, worth their time. I think they're 15, 17 minutes type thing. The DOJ is now investigating the deep state after Project Veritas undercover report. So I think they've been doing it before that, but I think that this new information might even be more things that the DOJ is going after. So this is a war, and I tell you, I'm glad we have Project Veritas on our side. Here's something exciting. They're just wild, what they're doing in China, where they have massive number of cameras. Look no dark corner. Yeah, leave no dark corner. I'm sorry. China is building a digital dictatorship to exert control over 1.4 billion citizens. For some, social credit will bring privileges, for others punishment. So this social credit thing is scary. This is where we were headed. This is Big Brother all the way, right? This person right here, they're talking about, they walk through what she's doing, and you'll see it how no matter where she goes, boom, boom, the cameras are all over her. and so it's just amazing. So great article, great. I'll link to it below to show you. You can go dig into that in more detail. FBI will not launch criminal probe into Kavanaugh allegations. Of course they won't. That's just real silly that they even had that. This is why the Pentagon is taking over security clearance checks, right? So what they're realizing, that they're way behind on the security checks, and there's a bunch of people pending. So now we're jumping in, and the Pentagon's coming in and jumping in. Again, that kind of comes back down to a lot, I think, of the pointing toward the military tribunals. YouTube just censored all 2016 election night videos. So just like you used to go to Cueanon, and I would pop up and praying medic and judge all the people that were doing the work and getting the most views, right? But now if you type in Cueanon, you get all the MSM fake news articles. Now they've done the same thing with the 2016 election. You used to get all these people, all the views were laughing at the Young Turks going crazy, and everybody, all this great work, and all these videos came at the top. Now if you type in there, if you go look at this, look what comes at the top. Instead of the really funny good things that shows the truth, now you get a CNN, Good Morning Britain, MSNBC, Showtime, all fake news comes to the top. That's sad. That's kind of where we are right now in this country. YouTube is and Google on their search engine. That's why I use DuckDuckGo and not Google on all my searches. And I have to use YouTube because it's the biggest platform in the world for videos, right? But they are also censoring the way we are looked at. That's why they demonetize every one of my videos the second it goes out. I mean, I'm obviously marked where it doesn't even have a bot stream through it. It just, as soon as it posts, it's demonetized, and therefore it doesn't get on the recommended nearly as much, or not even at all, because they want to put all the ones they're making money on. So it's just another way of keeping us censored. It's the punishment of the money is one thing, but the bigger part for them is that we'll get less views because it's not recommended. Here's North Korea pledges to dismantle nuclear reactor shuttle missile launcher. So this more winning. So this as all this good news, I think the Lord's just going to give so much good news and then expose all the evil that the red wave's going to just hit. But you guys, we cannot count on that. He's expecting us to act, right? So we need to be praying, and we need to get registered, get our friends registered, get our family registered, and pull people to go get registered and pull people to go vote. November 6th is critical as the final part of the takedown of the deep state. If you want to see military tribunals and Obama and Hillary and some of your favorite people in those military tribunals, we have to get out and vote. The left and the evil and the witches are all praying, and they're motivated, and the anger is so deep, and the Trump derangement syndrome, and anger often motivates people more than happiness does, right? And so if we let that happen, we cannot get. That's what happens when we actually just don't get as motivated after we win a big election. That's what happens on the primaries right after a big election of the president. The opposing party always has a bigger win because they're mad and at themselves for not getting out there, right? So now we have to counteract that with massive enthusiasm. So get people registered, go out to vote, please. Going to be critical. Here we are on MSNBC, just in. Hillary Clinton tells Maddow that she predicts that President Trump is going to wholesale fire people after the midterms, and he will be even more uncontrollable if the Democrats don't flip one or more houses of Congress. See, so they got Obama and Hillary and everybody, the minions out there, trying to make, trying to get them all the more angry and all the more energized to come out to the polls, while we'll be all content and not get out there. So please don't let that happen. Last year, hypocritical Schiff called for declassification of all documents related to the Russian hacking. Now he says declassification crosses a red line. So if I didn't have so much news, I'd go through some of the comments here because they're kind of funny. So if you have more time, go through a lot of the comments on these. Here is just somebody shows an Emmy Award, and behind the scenes it shows Cueanon. And so we talk about the red carpet things. There's some funny things on that. This is a person that a lot of people like to follow. I guess this Thread Reader guy, this Thomas Wicker here guy on Thread Reader. And Thread on Gang of 8 letter. The Gang of 8 is 8 congressional leaders who are briefed on intelligence. And it basically, this is, you probably saw this. Of course, Nancy Pelosi signs it, and so does Adam Schiff and Chuck Schumer, as well as Mark Warner, the 4 Democrats of the Gang of 8. And they're basically just trying to keep do not declassify this stuff. Please do not declassify this stuff. You're going to show sources and methods, right? Sure. You're going to basically just out the deep state is what you're going to do. You're going to show all these people to be criminals is what you're going to do. And so this guy goes through why the president has all the power in the world to do this, and he does not have to get permission from the Congress. That's what this thread says if you want to go dig into that thread. Then there's this really cool site I want to show you. It's called app.simplenote.com. And it's got who are the players. And I think there's some other sites that actually show this too. But it's kind of cool. It shows the pictures of who they said was the evil ones, which included Ala Weed, John Podesta, Marina Abramovich, George Soros, Lindy Rothschild, and even Rachel Chandler, right? And it talked about who they classified as the Patriots. And some of these guys you might not agree with, but General Flynn has even got Kushner on here. It's got Pence. It's got Paul Nakasone. You got Jeff Sessions, Alan Dershowitz, Bill Briney, John Bolton, President Trump. I think most of us would agree with that one. But it's got Rex Tillerson here. I don't know if I agree with that one. John F. Kelly, Christopher Wray, because he was a deep state rat, I think, that wouldn't even do what Trump told him to do. So that's why he was replaced by Pompeo, right? And here's a traitor and pawn, they called this. This is John McCain. I think this is the guy that was over all of ISIS, if I remember right. And there's Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sheila Jackson and Nancy Pelosi and Loretta Lynch and Paul Manafort. And so that's interesting to have Paul Manafort here on the traitor and pawn. And Susan Rice, Tony Podesta, Peter Strzok, Maxine Walters, Mark Zuckerberg, can't forget him, and then Rod Rosenstein. I think he did a deal with us though, and Valerie Jarrett. So so these are just kind of interesting at this again app simplenote.com. I'll put a link below here so you can find that. So sometimes I based on timing, I'm not able to get to all that, but we'll do the best I can. Okay, now. That's the news. So we'll get into a prophecy and some prayer and some discussion. I want to let you know that I am on Facebook here, and it's blessed to teach. So pretty easy, just bless space to space teach, right? Just like you have to do it in like you usually do in Facebook, but in Twitter you'll see that I am actually. Oops, just closed it. It's at Blessed to Teach. You can see it. There's also a Patreon here. You'll see that. And I was going to show you the levels that you can find, but I do have a Patreon now, and so I was doing some research on Castle Lock, and this is what people were talking about: Castle Lock monarchy, British monarchy, and the late list of 300. Right? This person says, I think it means POTUS secure. He tweeted he just got to the White House minutes before that drop. Yeah, so that's kind of what I thought the whole White House was. And man, I started doing some more research in here, and it just was going to get too long. But Google, YouTube, other partners are executing plan to silence any pro-Trump videos and search results. So, again, this is crazy how that's going on, but you know that, right? So the full censorship is coming down hard, and so that's the news. Let's dig into a prophecy, and you know what? I'm gonna do something tricky to you guys. I'm gonna have you go to the other channel. Okay, so link to my other channel. It's YouTube 2. I mean, so Blessed to Teach 2, right? And so you can search on that Blessed to Teach 2, but it's also on the bottom of my last 2 videos. And I'm gonna flip over there in about 5 minutes. I have to go flip a couple switches here and go back live, but I'm gonna do my prophecy and my prayer, and I got a Bible verse for us in about 5 minutes on Blessed to Teach 2. Okay, that's the only way I'm going to get any time on there and get that backup channel actually functioning is I have to get some videos over there. And as you know, I just don't upload videos. I do live videos. So again, I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes over on the other channel. God bless you.